race did go up a little bit late at Kempton. We have got 9 of them standing their ground for this one. So let's have a look at it. We've got a good time to have a quick chat about them. We'll first chat about the 9 horse here, Station Bar, who has been ultra consistent. He has finished in 2nd place in his last 3 starts. Eve Johnson Horton and Charlie Bishop, and ended his 2-year-old season with a trio of 2nd place finishes over Shorter, a solid contender, and may go one better over this new trip, being out of a multiple 1 mile winner for his connection. So a lot to like about it. He's really consistent. Yeah, shaped quite well when last seen at Southwell, whilst leaving the impression he might improve once again up to this distance of 1,600 metres. And with his family having plenty of form over this course and distance, he could go well on his return to Kempton Park. Yeah, he made late progress with a steady pace to finish in 2nd at Southwell behind the progressive winner, and he is able to race a mark of just £1 higher here. He's bred to be better than a 65 rated horse, comes from a family with a good record at this track. Same connection to the likes of Madame Tansy, who's a horse to the grill with an accidental angel, you might recall, a triple course winner, Rufal, who won a listed race over this course and distance. It's possible Station Bar, after this break, may need the run, but if he's fit to do himself justice, he could be a big player, having progressed on a race-by-race basis as a 2-year-old. So a lot on the whole then to like about the 9 horse then. That is at Station Bar. Jockeys, by the way, are getting on board, so we might be in luck, and this race may go to time. They are 3-year-olds, so there's not too much experience to come from them. The mile start, by the way, is again not too far actually from the paddock area. It will just be a little left-handed turn. We'll have a look at the rest of the runners then in race card order. We'll start off then with number 1. That's Blues and Royals, Michael Bell and Hector Crouch. And he's having his first run of 168 days. First run as well since a gelding operation. He is fancied here though, by the way. A good 3rd at Kempton Park on his final
and Callum Shepherd just mounted on number over the winter, was a game winner of a 0 to 75 over a mile at Chelmsford just under 2 weeks ago. A £3 rise for that to 69 I think is quite lenient. I thought he was a progressive type, half brother to a listed winner called I'm a Gambler. I think he's an improving type.
Yeah, and once they gelded I'm a Gambler, he just went into the stratosphere. Heritage Handicap, listed win, went to America Placed and Group Company. Can certainly see just a gambler having possibilities. In the purple colours, the second last to leave the paddock, on his toes a bit. He's just going down the chute now, is Armstrong, the most expensive horse in the field. Cost 260,000 guineas from Tats but won. 3 runs in maidens and novices didn't suggest he'd be making that back anytime soon. But he's starting off in handicaps of a low mark, 66. He's also been gelded, and if he suddenly took off, Alex, I don't think it would be a shock to anyone. Undoubtedly needs more. David Egan up for George Bowie.
So the runners about to go to the start for our next race. This is the Virgin Bet, a good bet handicap. It's a London Mile Series qualifier. Thestral coming out in the black with the white chevron and red sleeves. The mount of James Doyle. Next is Heart Sign in purple with yellow seams and sleeves, and then Evan Sabat in the pink jacket with green armlets. Just a Gambler, red with purple sleeves, red armlets. Number 2, Just a Gambler. They're followed by Hammer Leal, white with a black disc, and then Station Bar in the light blue, darker blue crossbelts and sleeves. Kanocki, the outside of the field, in black and yellow stripes. Followed then by Armstrong in the Ammo Racing colours. Violet with a quartered cap, white quartered cap. As we look at Station Bar going to the start on the big screen there. And here's now Blues and Royals in white with a black or dark blue cap. Number 1, Blues and Royals, the mount of Hector Crouch. So once again racing from the 1 mile start. Very open looking handicap. Blues and Royals and Thestrel fighting it out for favouritism. Blues and Royals at 3-1, 7-2 Thestrel. Armstrong 11-2 at 7-1 Evan Sabat and Station Bar. 15-2 Just a Gambler. Hammerleel at 10-1 and 11-1 Bar.
There's Blues and Royals, who we didn't get to see in the paddock. Let's touch on him for a second, Martin, because he brings an unexposed profile into this, and he's not the only one.
Yeah, exactly. This is his first run, the handicap off a marker 70. I thought the best of his 3 qualifying runs was when he was 3rd over 7 here in October. That was behind Siren Suit, who's now rated 88, and he was only beaten 2.5 lengths. He's been gelded since, so I think he comes into this, like you say, pretty unexposed. But for the grade, for an 0-70, I thought this is really, really competitive stuff.
Yeah, it really is. You're expecting at least a few of these to leave their current marks well behind by even the middle of the summer. There are some really nice profiles in here.
When you think number 2, what, Just a Gambler, think what a price he is now. Is he 8-1 or bigger at the moment? He was a last time out winner, gelded over the winter. I thought he won well last time at Chelmsford. He's only had a £3 rise to 69. You know, I would expected him to be a lot shorter, but that gives you a gauge on the opposition.
I think if he's anything like his brother, he's only going to get better with age. It was I'm a Gambler. It was his 4-year-old season. I think he had a season handicapping, and he was going quite well. But then suddenly things really, really clicked into gear. But what he does have on his brother is he won on handicap debut, showed a really good attitude to it as well. I think he's a big price in this. Yeah,
from a family, like you say, that get better as they go on. And I was impressed with his win last time, and I was surprised to see him get into a 0-70. I thought he'd be priced out of this by the handicapper, but he just gets in off 69. But like I said, there's some pretty hot-looking horses in this.
Thanks, Alex. Not surprised to see the market like this. I think you could make a short list of about 5 or 6, couldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. It's for an 0-70, it's very competitive, isn't it? It looks some decent horses in this. There's Thestrel going in. That must have been a hard decision to geld him, considering he's a brother to Group 1 sprinter Dream of Dreams, and he won at Newcastle. He did hang under pressure that day, but got the job done. But he has been gelded in the meantime, and the blinkers on. But he sets a good standard.
Yeah, he certainly does. And with 3 back, just to say, Station Bosch, I think, should really appreciate this step up to a mile. Madame Tunsi won the Group listed Hyde Stakes here. 1 to go. Here's Simon.
Over a mile. They're set. Last handler away. And they're away. Racing, Heart Sign just missed it half a beat, but recovering up the inside. Beginning well, Hammerlil out wide under Holydor. Moving up the rail now is Heart Sign as Hammerlil cuts across. Thestrel, Just a Gambler, going up maybe just second now. Back in the field to Armstrong and Evan Sabat in the pink jacket. Ganocki on the inside. Blues and Royals and Station Bar. So Hammerlil, the filly, she gets across to lead the way from Just a Gambler in second. Thestrel looks just a bit keen in the headgear, followed on the inside by Heart Sign, then Armstrong and Eben Sabat. Ganocki back on the rail in the striped jacket, Blues and Roars in the dark blue cap, and finally Station Bar. Into the bend now, the right-hander, and Hammerlil by a length. To Just a Gambler in second. Heart Sign on the inside. Thestrel hasn't really settled. They're followed by Armstrong, Eben Sabat. They're both going okay from Blues and Royals, and Ganocki parked on the fence, and finally Station Bar, last of the 9. About to turn the corner and pass the 3 furlong from home marker. Hammerlil from Just a Gambler. Heart Sign just waiting in behind these. Thestrel out wide from Armstrong. Then Ganocki, Eben Sabat in the pink colours, drawing towards the outside now, and then back in the field to Station Bar and Blues and Roars. Hammerlil is trying to kick from the front here. Holly Doyle going for gold, a length and a half clear of Heart Sign. Just a Gambler. Armstrong runs on. Ganocki, Blues and Royals from the back as well, is absolutely flying. Armstrong and Blues and Royals all changed. Blues and Royals has come from way back and powering home ahead of Armstrong and Just a Gambler, and it's Blues and Royals and Hector Crouch who win by about a length to Armstrong second, Just a Gambler, and Station Bar making late ground into fourth.
Tight-knit handicap, some lovely profiles on show, and one of them, of course, Blues and Royals, who has seen off Armstrong with Just a Gambler back in third, the well-positioned third as well. Station Bar, I should say, has run quite well in fourth, but this looked tight-knit, and Blues and Royals was well found in the market. 3-1 favourite, Hector Crouch for Michael Bell. And just in case you're wondering about the colours, they are marginally different to Constitution Hill. Different colour cap. We'll likely be seeing something similar in around about half an hour's time. We'll take it back to the start. The most notable part of this, Martin, was that there was one pace angle in here, and Hammerlil, breaking from stall 9, has been able to sweep over. They've wanted this.
Yeah. Hollywood's quick out on Hammerlil from stall 9. The rest of the field, they were happy to let her go to the front and cross. You're just seeing there Callum Shepherd moves up on the outside, so he's well placed on Just a Gambler, who I have to say looked quite one-paced when he come under pressure, Just a Gambler. But here now you see Holly gets to the front, she just dabs on the brakes, get a few behind in a bit of trouble. A few of them were quite keen and throwing their heads around, not least Heart Sign for Callum Rodriguez. And you just see the Hugo Palmer runner, Thestrel, just pulling and a little bit keen when the pace slackened, but the eventual winner is in a nice rhythm with a bit of ground to make up, but he's in a nice rhythm and he's relaxed, where a few of these are still not dropped the bridle.
Yeah, data will be interesting to look back on this. I don't feel like they've gone particularly hard. I don't think they've crawled necessarily, but it hasn't necessarily been the easiest to come from second last and win this.
No, it wouldn't have been, because Holly went very quick and crossed. They let her go, and when she got there, she slowed up because she wants to give her horse the best chance of winning. And here now, she kicks from the front thinking she's got first run, and she actually gets a bit of ground on them. You can just see Just a Gambler, he's just taking his time to get into top stride, and Callum is urging him along. He's well positioned, but he looks one-paced, and you just see the winner cutting through the pack under Hector Crouch. He's found a good turn of foot, and certainly stepping up to this mile has really helped him, hasn't it?
The more I look at Station Bar's run, the more I'm impressed with it. Was dead last, was the winner right in front, turning for home, and has had to make up a lot of ground and weave his way through. I think there's races to be won with him at a mile. Definitely.
He's shown a progression stepping up to a mile, as you said he would. The family improve as they get older, don't they? The Dam is a half-sister to Accidental Agents. he runs in the same colours here, and didn't quite get the rubber to green when he needed it, but Charlie switches him to the inside and he really does finish off well. But the winner has flown.
It has flown, a better from Armstrong as well.
Yeah, he's run an absolute blinder. And these horses are coming off a layoff. Armstrong is coming off over a 209-day layoff, so they will take a step forward. But this could well be a well-handicapped horse, Blues and Royals.
I think we might have seen a few winners in waiting in behind there, Alex. Tight-knit handicap, Blues and Royals off the mark. Blues and Royals, handicap debut to remember. Hector Crouch, you held him up. He showed a great turn of foot, and it didn't look like they went a mad gallop up front.
No, they put the handbrake on after a couple of furlongs. It wasn't quite what I was expecting to happen, but we'd chosen to ride him that way, and it's the start of his year, and we wanted him to finish off his race, and he had a nice turn of foot there.
Finish off he did, and he had to be brave as well.
Yeah, he was tough. He went through some gaps there, and he still pricked his ears when he hit the front, so hopefully he can progress through the handicaps.
Is he a miler?
I think so, yeah.
I guess it's just a case of rising up the grades and seeing where you land.
Well, that's it. He's done it nicely there, but he's not won by too far, and hopefully we can place him well.
When it comes to the turf season, what do you think he'd like?
He's a good moving horse. Good ground would be perfect for him. He's very versatile. He's worked on everything at home as a 2-year-old, and I don't think it'll bother him.
Nice to have a bit of atmosphere here on a Wednesday night.
I don't think I've ever seen Kempton quite as busy. A testament to what good horses can do for racing.
Well done.
Thanks.
Thanks, Hector. sometimes you watch these situations on TV and you think, well, they're surely playing it up, Martin. They can't be.
Constitution Hill will be the last one to go in, going into stall.
I have never seen this place so busy outside of Boxing Day. There's people on the other side of the paddock.
The horse who would have been in stall 7 is out here, so he moves forward to the outside with Oisin Murphy.
So from
Constitution Hill, the last one into the stall.
Race.
He's so excited, he can't even say the name.
I'm losing my words. That's great, isn't it? The build-up's great, it's exciting. I mean, look at the people here, and they're already queuing for a position to see the mighty horse walk down the paddock.
Daddy Longlegs
This
today
is
right up
great,
against the
isn't it?
inside rail.
Fantastic. Let's break off and talk to someone,
really
if
broke
we will.
well today. The one who's early
we've asked to
outpaced
have
his
a
graze
word
on
with
Sunshine.
Harry.
So it's Gambino who's very keen towards the
How are
outside
you?
of square deck for Daddy Longlegs.
Very well, thank you. What brings you here? That's what I need to ask.
The reason why I'm here is the King, Constitution Hill.
Okay.
He's my favourite horse. I'm gutted that he's not running over the hurdles no more. But hopefully he's got a nice career on the flat. So hopefully things work out and fingers crossed he can do it.
And you're going to support him no matter what?
No matter what. For me, he's probably the horse that got me into horse racing. Used to love Frankel back in the day, but for me, he's been the horse that's just sort of flipped everything upside down. He's an amazing horse to follow. Love what Nicky does with him, what they've all done with him. And I know it's for the horse's best interest, but it's good to see what he can now do on the flat, so yeah.
And Harry, we've heard from all the experts about what he maybe could do on the flat. What do you think he could achieve on the flat?
Well, I think he could definitely be a group horse. I mean, how far he'll go is to be seen, but I'm hoping. I think I see the news the other day that he's now not going to be going to Australia, so hopefully he can get some group races in.
But I believe personally that there are group races in him, so let's see what he can do.
You clearly love your racing. You clearly love Constitution Hill.
For sure.
Is there any chance, if he wasn't here, that you'd be anywhere near this place on a Wednesday night?
Well, I live 10 minutes up the road, so I come here quite often. I try to get out quite often, whether it be evening racing, weekend racing. I'm here quite a lot. Big racing fan, but as I say, tonight is all about him, so let's see what he can do.
How far is he going to win, Harry?
Half the track.
Brilliant. Well, let's speak to a few other people. Sir, are you a regular at Kempton, or are you here to see the King?
Well, I was here on Boxing Day, and I've been here since the days of Vodkatini, if anyone remembers that. Yeah, that was a famous one. Do you remember that one?
Not really.
No, a bit before your time, but anyway. But what a great story. I mean, Kempton, Kempton's apparently on its last legs. I mean,
no.
Well, but look at the crowds. I mean, on a Wednesday night, what a star can bring out on a midweek card when there's no football on. I mean, this should be like mainstream news. This is like a star. This is the Ronaldo of racing on a flat scene, and what a great story it is. I mean, people have got here. There's been trains. There's been God knows what's gone on. The trains but people have still got here. This was empty at 5 o'clock, but now it's full up. But I think it's just a great story that the transition from a great star from the jumping scene has moved over to the flat, and now we've got a great crowd, and this is what racing can do. This is the buzz that you can get from racing. There's no rivalry. Everybody's here just to support one horse, and I think that really should be taken to the upper limits of sport, really, because I mean, at the end of the day, anybody who loves racing loves great horses. We all want to see them win, and we all want to see them progress. And Constitution Hill, I mean, everyone loves Nicky Henderson, one of the stalwarts of racing. What a great trainer, what a great horse. This could be a really good story, and this should be front page news.
Couldn't have put it better myself. This man's going to do that of a job.
But then you don't agree. I mean,
brilliant. I mean, look
fantastic.
at the crowds here on a midweek Wednesday.
This is literally without Constitution Hill, this is like Barnet versus Leyton Orient on a Wednesday night. But tonight it's like Man United against Brighton, literally. So that's the scale it can do, and I think that's what it's done.
Well, your chips are going to go cold, so we better let you go and cheer on Constitution Hill.
Your excitement is palpable. If we could bottle it, we make a fortune.
Well,
enjoy the race.
And, thanks. Well, yeah, but I'd say understand the excitement you can get from when a star can come to a really mediocre meeting, and that's what racing should be about, that brings the people out. I mean, you wouldn't get 3 man and a dog on a Wednesday night normally, but you've got like 4,000 people here. So, all the best. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Alex. Back to you.
Into the parade room. We saw him briefly in the pre-parade as well. He never seems to have a bother on him, Dave, does he?
No, he doesn't. That was great, wasn't it? Really heartwarming stuff listening to those two guys. Volcatini, the Grand Annual winner, of course, who then started to, or stopped starting, didn't he? And then he used to skew over the fences, didn't he, to try and get rid of his jockey. How well we remember him. But yeah, this is just great.
Wouldn't it be great if there was like a black box inside a horse's mind, or we could read the transcript of what he's thinking right now. But I don't think he's remotely fussed. Remotely fussed. Didn't seem too perturbed about going in or coming out of the stalls, and then of course just monstered his way through that Southwell debut performance. As he turns towards us, just the first little strut, the first little carry of the head, the first little swagger, as if to say, yes, it is I.
It is me.
Yes, I am here. And he is here, and he's in the house. Let's go back trackside.
And he was just applauded coming into the paddock, Alex. Find me another horse in training. Find me another horse that you can go back to that could garner that kind of emotion. We're dealing with the top.
second on his first 2 runs in bumpers, didn't quite take to the hurdles, but he did run a decent 5th at over 1.3 miles at Southwell last time, but he was 5 lengths behind, a road less travelled. It'll be hard to see him turn that form around.
Yeah, it feels so. Behind number 3, Edward Sexton, Paddy Bradley and Gary and Josh Moore teaming up once again. Won the opener with Rory Rocket. This is a gelding who's a bumper winner. He's had 3 runs on the flat. He looks a work in progress even still, yet to be garnered a mark by the handicapper. He'll be much more interesting when he's assigned one.
And then behind him, this is number 4. This is a road less travelled for John Joe and AJ O'Neill. Alistair Olsen in the saddle. Now he ran against Constitution Hill, didn't he? He was quite a way behind him when he was 6th at Southwell, but he was ridden more positive last time when Alistair rode him, and he finished a good 2nd back at Southwell. That was 3 weeks ago. And the horse that beat him was a 90 rated filly called Datamore. That was a big step forward, and it was a big run from him. I think he could close the gap a little bit on Constitution Hill here tonight. I don't think he can beat him, Anthony, but I think he'll finish a bit closer than he did last time.
Well, if you like lively outsiders, number 8, Keep It Cool, could be your bag. She's a 6-year-old mare. She's a dual-purpose filly now. She was a shock 2nd at 200 to 1 on her flat debut at Wolverhampton. She stayed on from the back in a slowly run race where the impressive Mobley Rose was never too far away. The finishing speed percentage was 110% in that race. On bare form, she's got loads to find with the top 2. But she might break a bit better than she did last time, her first experience of stalls. She'd want to be faster out and looks a little bit up against it. Next in sequence, Martin, number 5, that's Star Artist.
Yeah, this is for Hughie Morrison, a Holly Doyle, a maiden hurdle winner at Exeter last March, but well beaten 8th behind Constitution Hill last time at Southwell, and he was well beaten. He needs to relax a bit better. He can be a bit keen, but I can't see him closing that deficit.
Well, looking to spoil the party is the next in sequence, number 2, Classical Allusion. He's the biggest in the paddock. He's the unknown quantity, and like his main market rival, he's 1 from 1, and the debut win came at Southwell. He was expected to need it, according to his SP, 10 to 1. Andrews usually come on for their debut experience. Well, he won despite a slow start and a slowly enough run contest as well. I think we were talking before, he looks, well, it confirms it now in terms of his size and his profile. He's going to want further in future.
He's a stayer in the making, isn't he? In the colours of Coltrane for Janice and Mick Marascotti. I think he'll replace that favourite of theirs. He was a game winner at Southwell, but he does look quite one-paced.
Well, as you'd imagine, Alex, Constitution Hill leaves the paddock, and everyone leaves as well to grab an eagerly awaited position. He's making his way down to the start for this 1.5 mile novice.
What kind of performance awaits? What is he capable of tonight? In what way will he be tested? What will we learn? What are connections hoping to see? What do they hope to learn themselves tonight? Lots of questions, in a sense, in a race where there seems only one logical answer. Constitution Hill is 7 to 1 on, 1 to 7 to win tonight. And in truth, he's probably up against lower rated horses than he was at Southwell last time up. Different track, less galloping nature, shorter straight, maybe less time to use that enormous stride of his and devour the surface and to lengthen away to victory. But he is expected to do that against lesser opposition. I'd wager they're probably 80-ish, low 80s horses in opposition. Road less travelled would be my idea. That the second, Classical Illusion, maybe longer term, the project who can improve most. But I suppose, Dave, I'm interested tactically because there's a lack of pace signed on here. A couple of prominent racers. Road less travelled would be one of them. Victor's Spirit, who's out further in the betting, would be another one, but no guaranteed pace angle. Might they dare to be positive, proactive?
I think they could be. I don't think there's. I think it's unlikely, but it's certainly not impossible, is it? Because, as you say, there aren't any obvious pace setters here.
That's a lovely shot,
isn't it?
It's a lovely shot because if you just look at the horse's ears, and you can just see from his eyes and his ears that he's listening to Ryan Moore via Moore's hands. He's just listening. And what is it you're asking me? What do you want? What are we doing? And by and large, there, he's gone pretty gentlemanly down towards the start. But there was a piqued interest you could see from his ears there, just listening to Moore. What is it we're doing here? Yeah. What are we doing? What do you want from me? What do you think Ryan Moore does want from him? Bar the obvious.
Bar the obvious. I think what do I think Ryan Moore wants from him?
Visualise it for me. Talk me through it.
I think he would probably like to see the horse switch off slightly better than at Southwell. I think that was, you know, watching it live. As you say, there was real jeopardy that evening, and that's the right word for it. You know, there were a couple. Is it at the Willie Mullins, the Jockey Club pre-Cheltenham press trip to Ireland, and you know, Willie Mullins with a glint in his eye throws out, just apropos of nothing, oh yeah, we'll send one to Southwell, and everyone's like, really? And it must have cheesed off the Jockey Club people, because of course that was the story. It wasn't about any of the Mullins horses who were going to Cheltenham. It was the next day, it was like, Willie Mullins is taking on a familiar... Constitution Hill will face opposition from a familiar foe, you know, in Willie Mullins. And, yeah, there was jeopardy that day. He was keen during the early stages. I wondered how that would affect him. And then, obviously, in the straight at Southwell, 2 to 1.5 out, he was clearly going to thunder clear.
Of course. Was it a year or so ago he went to Kempton for a racecourse gallop before he was supposed to go to Cheltenham?
That's right, yeah.
Remind us?
Well, it's the one, what is it? It's like at the end of
February?
At the end of February, isn't it? When, you know, this year Nicky Henderson galloped them in, or they exercised in 3 groups, didn't they? There were three sets of them that did it, and that was indeed the day that Constitution Hill worked.
So they are assembling down at the start then. We're a minute and a bit away from finding out what next, what performance, how good, and maybe whet the appetite about how the future looks for Constitution Hill and for us as fans of him and fans of the sport. Every nook and cranny covered just about. As we're about to go back trackside, the questions are, for Martin Dwyer, the question would be, as a jockey, what does Ryan Moore want here? And as a trainer, what does Nicky Henderson hope to achieve tonight? Those would be the questions. So Martin, question is, what does Ryan Moore want here today? How does he want to go about it? And for both of you, what does Nicky Henderson want to achieve with tonight's exercise?
Yes, Dido, yeah, they're pertinent questions, and I'm pretty sure Nicky Henderson booked one of the best, or probably the best jockey in the world, who's ridden in every great race, won every great race around the world. He wants his feedback. Be honest, anyone could have ridden this horse tonight and hopefully win on him, but it's most important they get a gauge on this fella, just at what level he can compete at on the flat and what distance they go. He's got 3 weeks, a target in 3 weeks' time, a 1.5 mile Group 3 race at Newbury. So really, he just wants to see this horse win and learn more about him.
What would you do if you were Ryan Moore, breaking from, is it Stores 4?
Well, this is the thing. This horse, he broke so well last time, and he was quickly on the bridle. Ryan will just keep it simple. He'll approach this race, he'll just make sure he gets him into a nice rhythm, nice and relaxed for the first half of the race. Then he'll assess it and gradually pick him up when he needs to, and give him a squeeze in the straight and see what he can do. But I don't think he'll complicate it. I don't think he needs cover necessarily. He'd be happy if he just gets a lead in second or third, but if he ends up in front, it might not be the worst thing in the world either.
You got those at bigger prices. Road Less Travelled, who is 14 to 1. in there, who has since Constitution Hill kicked him into touch on his flat debut. He has put each way possibilities. I think Serviceman, he undoubtedly will come on for this. He spent ages off the track, but no forlorn hope each way either. So the moment you've been waiting for, 3 back. Let's head up to Simon Hart for the most intriguing 1.5 mile novice we've seen here in years.
Star Artist remaining. The odds-on favourite going into the stalls. Just having a look. And he's in. And Star Artist will make up the line for this Virgin Bet Novice Stakes over 1.5 miles. And they're away. Keep It Cool, Edward Sexton, both a little bit slow perhaps. Constitution Hill lying in about 4th place in the early stages as Road Less Travelled goes on from Serviceman in the yellow cap, out wide Star Artist, the grey and the pink jacket, then Classical Illusion. Constitution Hill now back in 5th place under Ryan Moore in the white with the black cap as they race in front of the big crowd tonight at Kempton. They're followed by Victor's Spirit, and then behind these Edward Sexton and Keep It Cool is the back marker. Getting a little bit more spread out, and it's Road Less Travelled that leads the way as they race around this turn. Star Artist and then Classical Illusion in the blue sleeves in 3rd place. 3 lengths away to Serviceman from Constitution Hill. 2 lengths or so then to Victor's Spirit, Edward Sexton and Keep It Cool. Racing past the mile point from the finish and now heading down the back straight. Road Less Travelled continues to make it by a couple of lengths. 2 in 2nd, Star Artist. 3rd is Classical Illusion. Then Constitution Hill on the inside of Serviceman. Another couple of lengths then to Victor's Spirit from Edward Sexton and Keep It Cool as now they race on down the back. Soon they'll be swinging right-handed, and Road Less Travelled and Ali Rawlinson has made all the running so far from Star Artist in 2nd place. Classical Illusion and Callum Hutchinson in 3rd place on the inside of Serviceman. Then Constitution Hill and Ryan Moore on the inside in 5th, followed by Victor's Spirit and then Edward Sexton and finally Keep It Cool. Swinging out of the back straight and on now towards the final half mile, and still Road Less Travelled from Star Artist, Classical Illusion, then Serviceman in the yellow cap, Constitution Hill round the inside, followed by Victor's Spirit. Back in the 3rd, Edward Sexton and Keep It Cool as now they turn for home with 3 furlongs left to cover, and it's all going to unfold from here, and it's Road Less Travelled from Star Artist, Classical Illusion. Constitution Hill switched off the inside now, seems to have a bit of daylight. Out wide is Serviceman as they race on to the final quarter. Road Less Travelled on the far side, Classical Illusion. Here comes Constitution Hill with his trademark turn of foot. Constitution Hill comes to Classical Illusion and soon hits the front. Inside the final furlong, Constitution Hill by a length. It's going to be 2 lengths perhaps to Classical Illusion. He's ridden out to win tonight. Constitution Hill from his 2nd, Classical Illusion. Keep It Cool back in 3rd, and then Road Less Travelled in 4th.
A bumper crowd here at Kempton Park this evening, delighted by Constitution Hill keeping his unbeaten record on the flat. A perfect 2 from 2 on all-weather surfaces, switched to Kempton Park, and the result was exactly the same as at Southwell. He's faced probably a better rival in Classical Illusion, who's run a blinder on his return after 179 days, and Keep It Cool has run a respectable race back in 3rd as well, the filly at the bottom. But Constitution Hill 7-1 on favourite. Multiple champion jockey and big race jockey, in fact, Ryan Moore riding for Nicky Henderson in the colours of Michael Buckley. Thoughts on that, Martin Dwyer?
Yeah, we'll have to pick the bones out of that. I think the sectionals will tell us more. Road Less Travelled, he was ridden prominent to try and beat Constitution Hill tonight, and he seemed to slow up, and it was quite congested here for a minute, and it did look like Ryan's going to have to work his way out off that rail, and he does. He just moves off Serviceman off his left-hand side, gets into daylight. He picks up quite well here, and I thought here now he comes back on the bridle. Ryan just gets him going through the gears. I think it was a good performance. I think that maybe the stop-start pace, probably he would have won a lot more comfortable if it had been an even gallop. I think Classical Illusions ran a blinder. He's clearly progressive. He's got the race in the bag here, just nudged out, hands and heels by Ryan. He's won, what, 2.5 lengths? Could have been a lot further if it was a true run race, in my opinion.
But this is what you get at Kempton Park, around a 1.5 mile race, around 2 turns. They very rarely are solid end-to-end gallops. He's been served that up, and he's, I would say, passed it with aplomb, considering the circumstances.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, listen, all the other 8 jockeys in the race, they're just trying to ride to beat him, so they're not just going to go flat out and make it easy for him. Ryan was confident as ever. He just moved him off the rail because he realised that the pace had slackened. He wanted to get him going a little bit earlier, and he's duly obliged. What a champion he is. How far he'll go, I think he's going to be better in better races.
It feels that way. Alex, people are crowding around the parade ring. From the moment he crossed the line, people were running to get the vantage point so they could see Constitution Hill walk in as a winner once again at Kempton Park, but this time on the flat. 7-1 on. He is 2 from 2, a perfect 2 from 2 on the flat.
It wasn't the setup for him to look spectacular like he did last time up at Southwell. Shorter straight, slower pace, smaller field. He was never quite set up tonight for him to visually look as stylish and spectacular as he did last time up. But the data does back that up. They've got a finishing speed percentage of 110, so 100 is even pace. 10% higher than that underlines they've gone very, very, very slow. 12 seconds usually the barometer for even pace. He's dipped under 12 seconds for each of the last 3 furlongs. 11.72, 3 out, 2 out, really impressive. And 11.17 sectional, Dave. That was the killer blow. That was the one where he devastated the field, and then he just coasted home. Changed his legs in the last 100 yards as well, interestingly, to try and power further. He was way too good for them. It wasn't quite set up for him to be spectacular, but he was still pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. You know, as you say, it was... the race wasn't... The planets didn't align, did they, to show Constitution Hill in the light that he showed himself in at Southwell, but he was still, you know, he's hardly come out of second, third gear to win that, has he? And look at that. What an amazing occasion for Wednesday night at Kempton.
Fantastic, you can hear it as he comes back in. The same walkway that so many King George Chase winners on Boxing Day have trod once upon a time, and of course he won a Christmas hurdle on that particular showpiece occasion. No timber in his way these days, just rivals, some flat stalls and a surface. Today is the all-weather. Tomorrow and further into the summer it will be grass once again, and it will be no doubt group races once again. There's his jockey Ryan Moore, his debriefing for such a world-class jockey who thinks about sport, who thinks about racing. His feedback's going to be crucial to Nicky Henderson, who's next to him, and Michael Buckley, the owner, silver-haired Michael Buckley, who's spoken so well in recent months. He's on the far side there as well. The debrief is going to be crucial to the next steps.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like he's going into some depth, doesn't he, the winning jockey? His feedback, I'm being facetious, but his feedback will be very useful, which is what the trainer had said a few days ago. He knows exactly where good horses sit.
Clues are difficult to come from. I think the fact that we're looking at the pace he's showing, the overall pace discussion that he's shown tonight, the acceleration, etc., and the data, suggests to me that you absolutely wouldn't be going down in trip with him, for sure.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I would have taken out of tonight.
I think that's fair enough. I think I'd certainly in the short term, Alex, I'd stick with him at 1.5 miles. I think. You know, I'm not sure how far he'll stay this horse. I personally would stick at 12 for the time being.
Yeah, we had an email about that regarding. We've had a couple of emails actually about sort of future targets and could he be an Ascot Gold Cup horse? I think one of our viewers, Racing TV viewers, has backed him at a price for the Ascot Gold Cup. Whether he ends up there remains to be seen. That was Steve actually said he thought Ascot Gold Cup play here, 25 quid each way at 50 to 1 for the Ascot Gold Cup. Do you think that'll happen? What'll be his distance? What'll be his race? So many options are going to be open.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think, you know, I don't think of this horse as a strong stayer on the flat, but I'm happy to be proved wrong. He's still got a blank canvas to work with, pretty much, hasn't he?
Ascot Gold Cup 2.5 tonight, 1.5 miles, so an extra mile further in between 2 miles, and even 1.6 miles potentially, like an Ebor handicap at York in August. Theoretically, that could be his optimum distance.
Yeah.
And they're doing a lap of honour, which is great to see. Little lick of the lips, little look around, and plenty of applause for him tonight at Kempton Park as well, where they have come in their number to watch and to enjoy. That's fantastic. Making an occasion of it, making a showpiece of it. Sell the sport, sell the horses, the main participants. Fantastic to see. And there's plenty of people getting a selfie or a picture. One for the wall or the mantelpiece. And he will go out from whence he came, saw and conquered once again. He was the 1-7 favourite, Constitution Hill. He did as he was expected to do. He beat Classical Allusion, who's definitely got a future at whatever level. That's a really good run in fives, particularly off a long break, and keep it cool. Back in third, running particularly well as well. Ryan Moore on board for the first time, debriefing connections and letting us know also on Racing TV what he made of it.
Pressure for this man, Ryan. What did you make of it?
Yeah, as I said there, Martin, he's a gentleman, and I think the horse enjoyed his runs on the flat, and he moved well. And I think there's a bit more improvement to come from him, so let's say we'll be happy with that. Thank you.
At what level can he compete at on the flat, Ryan?
We don't know yet. He will tell us that. Probably will know more his next run.
Okay, and how far can he go in distance?
I think he's very comfortable at 12.
Okay, perfect. Slow run race, but overcame now.
Slowly run race, yeah. That's fine.
Well done, Ryan. Good luck in Dubai.
Ryan Moore, of course, off to Dubai this weekend, where we'll see the Dubai World Cup and the supporting cast, Shima Classic, the Alcoz Sprint, the Dubai Turf. There's so many races there on a fantastic weekend of sport out there in the desert. 11:45 through until 4:45, and Group 1's left, right and centre. Doncaster the weekend as well, so lots to look forward to. We're going to look back, though, on the performance of Constitution Hill. Interesting, Ryan Moore says 1.5 miles, absolutely fine for him in the short term, or for now.
Yeah, I think that's about right, Alex. You know, when you have a horse like this, there are obviously lots of really, you know, cherished races in the flat racing programme, and you know, obviously the Gold Cup at Ascot is right there among them. But just at the moment, I think that 12 furlongs is probably where this horse sits. Again, he was quite keen early on, wasn't he? Not like red line keen, but still keen enough during the early stages. And as you've said, that the race didn't unfold in the way that it did at Southwell, but he's done that in style. I don't think you would say jaw-droppingly impressive, but he's just, you know, he's done the necessary, hasn't he? The jockey can't really make rash predictions on the strength of that, and he hasn't done.
And wouldn't. That jockey wouldn't, for sure. But I think the most pertinent point to come out of that is that 1.5 miles is absolutely fine for now. In other words, slowly run race. He coped and showed a lot of pace over this distance, albeit against inferior rivals. And that's the only caveat when you're talking about pace and quality and speed. I wonder what the trainer learned, what he made of it, how much he enjoyed the occasion. He's speaking to Anthony.
It was the result everyone wanted to see, and Nicky Henderson's Constitution Hill hasn't disappointed. How was that for you?
Well, I was just saying it. I'm not used to lights. Can't say I see an awful lot, but you know, you don't need to see an awful lot when you've got the likes of Ryan or anybody else, to be honest with you. But Ryan's great, and he can fill us in. We'll have a chat later on. It's sort of too busy to sort of have a long debrief. But I think his main thing that I liked a lot was that he just said the horse is enjoying himself a lot. And I think that's important. He's had a year of not enjoying his racing terribly. You can understand why. And if he's enjoying that, then that's great for us. And I think the main thing, he thinks that the 1.5 miles is probably as far as he needs to go. He'll go further, yes, but he doesn't, he's not a big, slow old jumper by a very, very long way. And he's deceptive in his size, and he looked big today too. Yeah, I think that's about the right trip anyway, so we'll sit down and have to have a think, but yeah, that's great. It's over anyway, that's the main thing.
Relief, in a way.
There is a lot of relief, and it's been a funny old few days for us, and that one of his sparring partners who was here at Christmas isn't, and God, they didn't do an awful lot of work together because they were too good, and they'd have actually damaged each other, but they knew plenty, because they're about as quick as we've had for a very, very long time.
You've never shied away from making known about his speed and how much you've valued that attribute more than his staying ability. I'm guessing a stop-start 1.5 miles around Kempton has only emboldened that.
We've been around Kempton before, actually, because we come here sort of a fortnight before Cheltenham every year, and I should think he's done that for 3 years. There was one catastrophic fortnight before Cheltenham 2 years ago, wasn't it, when everything went pear-shaped and he couldn't go on to Cheltenham, but otherwise he does know his way around here. I don't say that's a huge advantage, but he's galloped around the all-weather before. Mind you, it's a lot slower when we go around in pre-Cheltenham gallops, but yeah, he's not slow, and a sharp track like this isn't he seemed to handle it very well, but it's a different sport, to be honest with you. But there's a 2-mile Cheltenham, but he's pretty adaptable.
It's become an occasion any time he runs now. He was applauded as he came into the paddock. He was applauded as he came out of the paddock. What does that mean to you as a trainer? Have you seen that before with one of yours?
It means a lot. Of course it does. He's had a difficult couple of years since that first fall in the champion hurdle over a year ago, and from Michael and everybody, it's been tough, and you have to be, we're sitting on the best hurdler in the country, with the exception, the only one that could go with him would be probably Cecchino, and you can't do anything. It's heartbreaking, and at least now we're finding something at his, as a 9-year-old, that he can enjoy it, and therefore it's wonderful that people want to enjoy him with us, and I'm sure he appreciates it. I certainly do, and it's lovely that these old horses, when they have been going that long, of course they do become favourites. It's fantastic, and the crowd here tonight, it means a lot, and a lot of sentimental memories and whatever, but he's still with us and we're still going strong.
I think I can say for all of us, please bring more stars to Kempton. They're great jumpers, but please run them on the flat. Look at the crowd.
If you could just ensure we keep Kempton, can we? That would be a big help. Thank you.
Here, here, well done.
Well. A lot to pick out of that, ending on some racing politics there, and I don't think Nicky could have expected Anthony to tee him up so beautifully to just bat that out of the park, which he absolutely gobbled up like a political pro. But you forgive him the emotions, Dave, understandably, in the week that the yards, Seven Barrows and all the team there lost the uber-talented Cugino. you could forgive him. He's emotional at the best of times, Nicky, and you sense the pressure that he feels. I think he needs to learn to enjoy these days and these moments a little more, but he's definitely feels the pressure as well, no doubt about it.
What, the trainer?
Yes.
Oh, I think it's too late for that. I don't think he'll ever enjoy those things. I mean, you know, we've had years now of watching him in the stands for the final throes of races, haven't we? And he doesn't... you can see how tense he is, can't you? And, yeah, I mean, we've not mentioned Sergino, and that was a terribly sad end for a horse who had so little luck in his life and his career and shone so brightly in a brief career, a really sadly brief career.
Jerry Mooney got in touch with us. Gerard got in touch with us. He was saying, do you think that Nicky Henderson has the horses to work with Constitution Hill? Of course, Sergino would have been one of those in terms of pace and quality and talent. I'm not saying equal talents, but who knows? But actually, you just got an insight in there into how trainers work good horses, and it's not always the obvious.
Yeah.
I think there's maybe an assumption among racing fans that you need a really fast horse to lead a really fast horse. Most of their work will be done at half and three-quarter speed. Rare would they be getting the revs up really to be properly challenged and pushed him. And he gave you an insight into that.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I mean, this is a really interesting thing for Nicky Henderson, isn't it? At a time of his life and career that he's now, you know, I can't remember. I rang him last week and he said, well, he won't be doing what 3-year-old colts do on the flat, whatever that is. I've never seen one. I've never worked one. You know, and you think, well, yeah, that is true. For all your massive experience of training good horses, most of them have been older geldings, haven't they?
Tell you, besides the sort of mile and a half being the right trip, the other thing that struck me actually, you can see him getting his position now. Now Ryan's absolutely happy where he is.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, he's just about to take a little bit of a tug there. He's just racing into the bridle. He's slightly threatening to over-race, slightly. The one thing that struck me, actually, was the first sort of 75 yards. He actually was quite slow to pick up, wasn't he? And it just made me wonder about, you know, turf races, turf ground, the first furlong of a race, whether just potentially he could end up on the back foot. I might be making more of that than it deserves, but it just struck me there through the first 100 yards.
But I think, though, that in that case, we're looking at this through the prism of a 7-to-1 on chance, aren't we, that is beloved by the racing public. And, you know, like, even, for example, when we were at the stalls there, he gave just a very slight hesitation before going in the stalls, and we were like, oh no, go in the stalls, you know. And
please don't.
When the trainer says it's a relief, you know, Nicky Henderson often says that, and with horses like this, especially public horses, there is a huge pressure that, you know, it's a privilege to train horses like that, isn't it? And it must be a great thrill, but it brings with it a weight of expectation that he'll be thinking, well, you know, like did he not say to Anthony, oh, thank goodness that's over.
Yeah, and that, you know, my message would be, these are the moments you have to live for. Enjoy it, try and enjoy it. There's so much pressure. I mean, who'd live a day in his shoes, really, day to day? But this is what they live for. This is why they're in the job. This is why all sports people do what they do. I loved the way he came out of the stalls, by the way.
Yeah.
Loved the way he just came out so comfortably and easily, didn't he?
Yeah. And here, you know, this is the point at which he's won the race. He doesn't come away and win by.
Watch him change his legs.
Yeah.
Coming up. There he goes.
And the second is probably a decent horse in the making as well. They've finished, what, about 4? I think the winning distances were 2 and 4. So in a slowly run race through the final furlong, they've come 4 lengths clear. You know, if I say job done, you know, people will think, well, can't you come up with anything better than that? But essentially that's what it was tonight, wasn't it?
And horses changing the legs like that, there are a couple of reasons why they would do that. Sometimes, say at Epsom, for example, you might be going down the hill on a left-handed and you might be on the wrong leg. So they might do it on that occasion. Sometimes they do it when they're tired. And sometimes they do it to try and increase the pace. And I think he was simply trying to increase the pace as they went in a slowly run race, trying to go quicker. But fascinating stuff. Isaac got in touch on the back of our email earlier about we had an emailer backing for the Ascot Gold Cup. Isaac's more or less saying he's $1 million for that. No way he'll stay that. He'll be out of the back of the TV. He should be targeted at Group 3, Group 2 races before people get carried away, says Isaac. He's probably right about that, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
But whatever you think about the Ascot Gold Cup.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's how his education's got to go, isn't it? And I mean, I would imagine that plan for the John Porter is probably still the way they're going to go.
What price should he be to win a Group 3 mile-and-a-half race on the flat? Obviously, it depends on the company. I know Nick Luck's Bissett might be a possible
that's right.
opponent. She's kind of listed class, isn't she?
Yeah, that was one of the races they were looking at. I know that'd be quite funny. Lucky trying to throw a spanner in the works, wouldn't it?
Anyway, those discussions for another day. But I hope you've enjoyed the Constitution Hill show so far, and we'll try and get more reaction for you before we close with 2 more races to come from Kempton Park. This is the 2-miler, the Virgin Bet Daily Price Boost handicap, this is, and Knight Templar is 5-4. There he is. Sword of Wessex is 13-8. James Owen. I think Nasma could be dangerous here. We've both gone for Knight Templar, who's just the most informed horse, and he's also the course horse, but Nasma back up to 2 miles. I think she could be potentially dangerous here.
Yeah, I think that's right. You know, as we've mentioned, Knight Templar, I think, is the solid one. Is it 3 course and distance wins? 3 wins at Kempton over 2, in winning form over hurdles as well recently, and he's the solid one. Like you say, Nasma could well be suited by the way that this pans out, but I think he's pretty solid.
Really interesting email from Simon Janssen. Simon, thanks for getting in touch. studio@racingtv.com if you still want to make a late shout before the close of play. Interesting email from Simon. I'll come back to that in due course. That's a really interesting take as well. Thanks to Alan Clarkson, who got in touch regarding Dan Skelton. I'll get to that before we close as well. And thanks to James Windsor, who's just wondering about what next for Constitution Hill. Again, we'll maybe get Anthony and Martin to give you a take on that. All of those emails coming up before we close, and you've also got a chance to do so yourself. studio@racingtv.com. They are assembled down at the start. What's your take on Sword of Wessex? The market seems relatively hot on him.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The support for Sword of Wessex. I think probably the trip will prove within range here. I'm not sure I'd go quite so far as to say that he's going to improve at it, but that's what the support in the betting believes, obviously.
Third time lucky for the new yard, James Owen, and he tends to find the key, doesn't he? It was a better run last time, over 1.5 miles, looking like maybe some extra distance would help.
Yeah.
Whether it's enough to think 13-8.
Yeah. I mean, you'd want to be on at the start of the pump than now, wouldn't you? Let's be honest about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of the others, I mean, actually, High Point does look like a step up from 1.6 miles to 2 miles will help him. He's there in shot. You can see Needers Tours in the blue, white and red. There's a margin of potential there.
Yeah, I mean, I think with High Point that 2 miles is a plus. You look at that win at Haydock when he fought on and looked as though another furlong and another 2 furlongs wouldn't be any bother at all. So in many ways I think that it's more beneficial to him than Sword of Wessex.
Last couple are going forward, including Knight Templar, who is the favourite. Let's back trackside, rejoin Simon.
And we're ready. And they're off for this Virgin Bet Daily Price Boost handicap. Fleurman needs a bit of driving along in the early stages. The grey as High Point bags the early lead from Fleurman. Then Sword of Wessex on the inside as they head towards the turn. Knight Templar just ahead of Sword of Wessex, and Nasmar is held up at the back of the field, just a little keen in these early stages. Turning the right-hander now for the first time, so they've got well over a circuit to cover. 2 miles the journey here. It's High Point and Jack Mitchell out in front by a couple of lengths to the 8-year-old grey Fleurman and Dylan Hogan. 3.5 lengths away to Knight Templar and Hector Crouch seeking a double after his win on Blues and Royals earlier on. Sword of Wessex and Kieran Fallon on the inside of Nasmar, and Paddy Bradley, who won the first race on Rory Rocket. Down the home straight, High Point shouldering top weight here from Fleurman, Knight Templar, Sword of Wessex and Nasmar as they prepare to pass in front of the stands with a lap of the track remaining in this London Stayers Series qualifier. And no changes in the order, with High Point continuing to make it. Fleurman in second, Knight Templar on the outside of Sword of Wessex, and then Nasmar, the mare, held up last of the 5. Swinging away right-handed as they head towards the mile point from the finish, and therefore the halfway stage in this Virgin Bet Daily Price Boost handicap. And still High Point lobbing along in the lead from Fleurman in second, Sword of Wessex, then Knight Templar, and a length and a half or so back to Nasmar as they head down the back straight and now race just inside the 7 furlong point from the finish. High Point still out in front, Fleurman second. Then in the noseband, Sword of Wessex, Knight Templar and Nasmar as they continue on, now passing the 6 furlong point from home. Soon they'll be swinging out of the back straight. The order has been much the same throughout the contest so far. High Point from Fleurman, Sword of Wessex, Knight Templar within a couple of lengths or so of the lead, and finally Nasmar, who continues to be held up in last place. So they're on the bend now and racing on towards the 4 furlong marker. High Point has made it all from Fleurman, who again is driven along in second place. Both Sword of Wessex and Knight Templar appear to have plenty of running in them at the moment, and so does Nasmar, no questions asked, as they prepare to stretch out down the final 3 furlongs in the home straight. High Point has dictated the pace here under Jack Mitchell. Where are the challengers coming from? Fleurman, Sword of Wessex possibly needs the cutaway. Out wide, here comes Knight Templar now. Knight Templar with a charging run in the orange jacket, strongly driven though. High Point joined by Fleurman. Knight Templar, a stout stayer, drawing closer on the outside, 3 in a line as they race inside the final furlong. Knight Templar on the near side of Fleurman, who's digging in very gamely indeed. Then High Point, Fleurman from Knight Templar. Fleurman, the old grey, is going to get home in front. Fleurman wins from Knight Templar in second. That back in third, High Point. In fourth then was Nasmar, and finally Sword of Wessex.
A long losing run has come to an end. Fleurman had gone into free fall in handicap terms, down to a basement mark by his terms. We've raced in 91 3 years ago, Martin, has fought off Knight Templar, who has had every chance to go by, but Dylan Hogan has galvanised Fleurman and got a nice tune out of him. 12-1 for Patrick Morris.
He certainly did, and the cheapies is on for the first time. £19 lower. That's his first win for over 3 years, but he deserved it, Anthony. He's a strong stayer. You see him under the pump here, being scrubbed along by Dylan Hogan, but he responds well. He was headed, wasn't he, in the straight?
I think he was, yeah. I think Knight Templar's come up sides him, and he's battled on. I think it's almost like muscle memory of remembering how tough he used to be when he was rated 91 and winning off marks in the 80s. It's all come back to him now.
Yeah, we had a 9-year-old Constitution Hill win the last race, and we've had an 8-year-old
that's where the comparisons end, with the greatest respect to Fleurman. He's had to be tough and tenacious, though. High Point on one side, Knight Templar, who loves it around here, the outside, and he's fought back valiantly.
Tough performance. The cheap pieces may have just helped him, but he's gone a neck up here and he's stretching away. The horse is loving the game, and he'll go in again, won't he? Drop off this hyper mark if the handicapper doesn't get carried away. Knight Templar arrived on the outside with a double handful under Hector Crouch. You thought he was just going to go away and win, but he didn't. Count on Fleurman battling back like he did. It was a good race, wasn't it, for a 5-runner 2-mile contest.
And while it was slowly run enough, I wouldn't say that positional advantage has really come into play, to be honest. It's not like Dylan Hogan's been filling up Fleurman. At points, he was giving him the G up and just keeping him interested.
Yeah, he was getting him rolling from a long way out. 5 runners. I thought they went just an honest gallop. Jack Mitchell slowed it down on High Point halfway through the race, but they have to. They can't keep going the same tempo. But there was no excuses for any runner. But Fleurman just rediscovered some of his old spark off this lower mark. It was a brave and game effort to win.
It's a night for the old boys, Alex. Fleurman rolls back the years and grabs a first win in 3 years.
It's been a night for the old boys who've been hurdling, coming back on the flat, hasn't it? Fleurman plummeting down the waist, and he beats the favourite and he holds them off on merit, and it could just be the start of renaissance in his career now with Pat Morris. Fleurman, Dylan Hogan on board. He's a worthy winner, you've got to say. He's a worthy winner. Knight Templar had every chance.